Hi. Oh, that was really loud. Sorry. I have a bit of a summer cold, and I got hit with laryngitis last night, so that's the water. And I really hope I don't choke to my death in front of you here today. But I don't know, just consider my laryngitis voice me keeping Ted sexy. How are you feeling? TED Talks. Amazing! Being here is a dream come true. I got into the habit a few years ago of trying to watch a TED Talk every morning over breakfast because I felt like it was making me smarter. And so when I found out that I was being invited to do a TED Talk, I was overjoyed because what I really want to talk to you about are a couple of things that, well, actually one thing in particular that I'm passionate about, which is improvisation. And an epiphany that I had 2 months ago related to my work as an improviser. The thing is, the moment I got asked, I had this elation and excitement and joy, and then I was immediately hit by these crippling, paralyzing fear thoughts, like, what am I going to wear? I won't even get into it. But beyond that, beyond the what am I going to wear, all I could think was, everyone who does a TED Talk is so smart. They're like scientists and designers and engineers and stuff. And I have to admit to you that I got really, really nervous. In fact, actually, I got terrified. And I am not a nice person when I'm afraid. So as soon as I'm done here today, I owe huge written apologies to all my friends and family. Because the first thing that happens to me when I get terrified is I get really negative. So all I could think was, I'm going to do a TED Talk, and I'm not smart enough, and I'm not going to have anything interesting to say, and I'm not going to say anything new. People have done talks about improvisation many times in the last 5 to 10 years. Blah. The next thing that happens to me when I'm afraid is I start saying no to other people's ideas. Yeah, I'm a total control freak when I'm afraid. And so I should, in fact, offer my first apology to the TED organizers, the TEDx organizers, who tried really hard to help me put my talk together, and I just kept saying no to everything they suggested. They were like, you should send your outline. I was like, I can't do an outline. No, I can't do an outline. And you're going to want to script it. No, I can't script it. Oh, maybe I should script it, but I don't know. You're going to want to have slides. I was like, computers make me cry. I can't have slides. I can't do it. I don't know what a PowerPoint presentation is other than this. This is my audio-visual equipment. It's 3D. That's all I got. So I feel really bad because I said no to basically everything they suggested, and I know in my heart that that makes me seem really difficult to work with, and that's not my intention. And then the other thing that happens to me when I'm afraid is I get really disconnected from the people around me, and I get isolated. I get caught up in my own thoughts and my anxiety, and someone can be talking to me about really important stuff, and I just think, what? No, I'm sorry. I didn't hear anything you said. I'm just thinking about this terrible, terrible talk I'm going to do, and I'm going to have nothing to wear. I'm sorry. So I did what I always do. I called a friend. I called a really, really good friend of mine, Sandra. I said, I'm stuck. I'm really trying to do what they've suggested. I'm trying to write a script. I'm on my 5th draft. It's not working. And I just feel terrible, and I'm feeling sorry for myself. And Sandra said, oh, chum, why are you trying to write a script about improvisation? She said, Rebecca, you've been improvising for 25 years. Don't write it down. It's in you. You just have to trust that you know it, and then just talk about it. I was like, wow, that's really great advice. I'm so glad that I called you. So I started to think, what do I know? What do I know for sure after doing 25 years of improvisation? I know that it inspires me beyond belief. I know that it is one of the most effective tools for being a better human being that I have ever come across. And I love it as a tool because it is multifaceted. It can be applied in many, many situations. When I first started improvising, I used the skills and the fundamentals of improv to simply create spontaneous sketch comedy. And when I was a teenager, that was enough. That was plenty. I loved it. As I got a bit older and I started to pursue work as an actor, I used it to be more connected, more in the moment, better connected with my fellow actors. When I got into my 20s and my early 30s, I thought, wait a second, these skills are actually applicable outside the arts. The corporate world loves improvisation. Corporate people who take improv workshops end up being better problem solvers, creative thinkers, they're better team members, they can adapt to change. All super, super exciting. So I applied that to myself and my TED Talk. It's like, what are the rules of improv? Well, the rules of improv are put in place to diffuse your fear. Fear is the one thing that always holds all of us back. So my first fear behavior being negative, number one rule of improv, be positive. We always say to beginner improvisers, what's the best blood type an improviser can have? Be positive. Terrible. It's a terrible joke. Terrible. But it works. You're afraid. You say no because you want to stay in control to keep yourself feeling safe. Rule number 2, say yes. Say yes and see what kind of adventures you go on. This is a tough one for a lot of people. Rule number 3, embrace failure. We've been taught that failing is a really, really bad thing. But if you think about it, failing is the fastest way to learn something new. So you should, in fact, celebrate when you fail because you're, in fact, failing forward. And the last rule of improv, there's a whole bunch, but I'm going to give you my top 4. The last one, and this is one of my favorites, is when you find yourself disconnected and isolated from the people around you, inspire your partner. Work to make suggestions that light them up. When you start thinking about the other person, it lifts your own fear. And if you're working on a team where everybody's working to inspire each other, you end up places together that you never would have imagined going on your own. So I've been trying my best to apply these rules in my life. I'm a human being. I forget all the time, and I turn into the cranky, scared girl who says no to everything. I catch myself. I try to apply a rule. So one of the things that I've been doing in my own personal work as an artist in the last few years is a show called Blind Date. It's a really simple premise. The character I play has been stood up on a blind date. I pick a random gentleman from the audience to join me on stage, and we have a blind date in front of the audience, and we, in fact, do a 90-minute performance together. Sounds a little bit scary, hey? Yeah, it's terrifying. But what I realized was, if I think about taking care of him, I'm less terrified. And so the show has been doing really well. And in fact, audience members come and they see it 4 or 5 times, and I start recognizing them and going, stop coming. You've seen it, just stop. And I was recently being interviewed and being asked questions about it, and the interviewer said, do you ever fall for the guys that you are on stage with? And I gotta tell you, I've now been professionally on dates with almost 300 men. Yeah. I wish I was paid the way that those other ladies are, but I'm not. I'm not. In any case, I do. In fact, what I said to her was, not only do I love them. I said, I love them, actually. I love that they don't just get up and sit down. I love that they're willing to share stories from their own life with me. And we've had this really bizarre, intense experience together, so I love them. She said, but really, you really love them? How is that possible? And so I was trying to answer this question on the phone with her, and the more I was talking around it, the more emotional I started to get. And I've learned, I would say in the last 15 years, that when I'm talking about something and I start getting emotional, I know that I'm zeroing in on a truth for myself. And I'm probably gonna cry talking to you about it. Suddenly, I had this light bulb moment in the talking around it. I went, oh, I just realized that all the behaviors that I teach improv students and actors and corporate people, be positive, say yes, risk failure, inspire your partner, These are behaviors that each and every one of us come to naturally and spontaneously when we are totally in love with someone. I started weeping on the phone like I'm weeping in front of you right now because how did it take me 25 years to see that? Stop clapping, you're cutting into my time. I'm not sure yet what to do exactly with this observation. It might not even be true. Some of you might be sitting there going, no, I don't act that way when I'm in love with somebody. No, I do other things. But I think it's right. In some part of me, I have an instinct that that's right, that we do this naturally when we're in love, which means that right now I'm talking myself out of all of my corporate work. If you could just be in love with your teammates, then you'd make so much money. It would be amazing. Every business would be successful. I think one of the things that I'm most excited about at the moment is that recently, not even that recently, it just sort of seems like an ongoing thing that kind of bubbles up, and there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of questioning in the media about the value of the arts. How are they valuable? You know, the world is ever changing, the economy is fluctuating, times are tight. Should we really be putting money into the arts? In the past, I would say to people, listen, here's why I think the arts are valuable, especially when times are tough. You need to laugh, and I would love to take you out of your troubled life for 2 hours and make you laugh, and then send you on your way. I could also say that I hope that as an artist, I add value to your lives when I do come and teach a corporate workshop and your teamwork gets better and you become a more creative thinker and you are able to adapt to change within your organization so that everybody's making greater profit. That would be nice. But then I realized, why do we make profit? Like, why do we want money? Because money buys us freedom. And most people that I know, when you ask them, what will you do with your freedom or your spare time, say, I would spend more time with my loved ones. So I think it's also the job of the artist to hold a mirror up to society and say, look at you. So I'm holding up a mirror and saying, I've discovered this new thing about my work that allows me to hold the mirror up to you and say, look at how you behave when you're totally in love. You don't need me to teach that to you. You might need me to remind you. Now, the one piece of advice I will take from the TED organizers is they did suggest a great way to end your talk is to offer a call to action. Everybody's nervous. I would like you to make out with the person next to you. I'm going to wait till it happens. No, I'm kidding. Here's my call to action for you guys based on this crazy epiphany that I had that makes me cry. I think you should doubt everything that I've said here today. I think you should be skeptical. I think you should question the value of the arts because it makes me a better artist. And in your skepticism and your doubt of what I've said to you today, what I've shared with you, I invite you to just join me in an experiment over the next 10 days. If you catch yourself being afraid, and you will know that you're afraid when you're being a little bit cranky, or you're being negative, or you're saying no to someone else's ideas, or you're trying really hard to get something right because you're terrified of failing, or you feel disconnected from the people in your life. Try it. Be positive. Say yes. Embrace failure. Inspire your partner. Because if at the end of the day you try it and it feels different, maybe I will have just given you a system that you might be able to use to practically and consciously love your fellow human beings better. And I think that is an idea worth sharing. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just gonna stand out here and milk the standing ovation until you kick me off. Thanks, you guys.